the top of the screen any second now. I am indeed recording this session. It, like all of my other classes, will get posted to my YouTube channel. I will send you a recap at the end of this session that goes over a lot of what we are talking about today, as well as it will include a link to this recording and a link to the video that I put together that I will show you at the end of this session as kind of a quick walkthrough of a property and what are some of the things you want to be conscious about in that process. I do ask that everybody please remain muted throughout the session. If you have any questions, feel free to utilize the chat located on either side of my head whenever you open up the chat window. It's where I typed in that message about us starting just after 3 o'clock. You can put anything you're worried about forgetting right into that section. I do address all questions at the end of the class, so you can also unmute yourself and ask a question then when I open it up to the floor. But my goal is to get everybody out of here inside of that 45-minute window with room for you guys to ask some questions. Outside of that, I don't really have any other housekeeping tips. We're going to go ahead. You guys are going to listen to me talk for a little bit. Feel free to take any notes if you would like. And at the end of the session, like I said, I'll include a handy recap with a lot of what we've talked over. But this, in regards to the marketing conversation, is something that goes hand in hand with your digital marketing strategy. So I really hope that everybody attended the Virtual Education Expo earlier today. Those of you that are in my region hear me talk endlessly about reassessing your marketing plan to make sure that your digital footprint is now the largest part of it. I think one of the talking points we like to think about in regards to virtual open houses as well as virtual tours, from a consumer standpoint, you think about how much time it saves them, but it actually saves you as an agent a lot of time as well. They let you reach more properties in more places that allow you to share those properties in more places to your consumers. And by way of various platforms like your website, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, etc., where your consumers are, so they can find you on the platform that best suits them, as long as you are keeping everything that you are syndicating to a tight part of your marketing network. This will also is a great new way to capture leads and create new content, as well as build your brand. Virtual tours are popping up on business listings and real estate websites, and more consumers expect them. Google did a study recently and found that 67% of surveyed participants, when it comes to whether they would like to see, either in regards to the real estate industry or even just a business doing a virtual tour, over 67% of participants say they want a virtual tour when looking at that listing, whether it's a commercial listing or a single family listing. So that, again, is something to keep in mind. It's something that consumers want, and you want to find your own groove in that space to better carve out your own brand identity. Just a quick note, like I said, today we are focusing predominantly on creating a video and getting more legs out of that video in regards to not just property promotion, but brand promotion for yourself. And I do apologize if you hear any noise. The Palantero is walking by and he should be gone momentarily, but that's just what that is. If you guys hear anything, I'm going to keep moving on. The self-marketing opportunity created here is what really can drive home some kind of a sense of connection with your consumer and endear them to your brand. And the reason why I'm not really going deep into the live aspect is because that could be a whole discussion in and of itself. I do talk about it here and there because the essence of what we're doing is the same. The only difference between the live version of this and a traditional video that you guys will see at the end of this that you can, edit and cut and replace things with is just that. When you're live and you're putting yourself out there for people to come in and engage with, you don't get the same comfort, I should say, in being able to deviate off script. When I say off script, what I mean is this whole thing starts, and if anybody's taking any kind of session with me, you know what I'm about to say, it all breaks down to workflow. You want to make sure that before you begin this whole process, just like a traditional open house, you need to think about this in every step in regards to your marketing plan and how it works with your business plan. And before we dive into kind of some of the nuts and bolts of this, I want to share a quote from one of my agents who has kind of become a great rock star in the Santa Cruz area with the kind of virtual open house and tours. Not just that, but the video presence that she has in developing her online footprint. And what she always likes to say is that they, meaning the consumer, don't care how you look or necessarily what the production value is behind this. What they do want is transparency, they want authenticity, and they want the real you to show up and provide relevant information on that community. And if there's anything we take away from today's session, I want that to be the biggest one. Your consumers want the real you to provide relevant information, not just about the home they are looking at, but the community that you represent, because that's the two-sided coin to this. And you're going to hear me talk a lot in the planning stages about the purpose of these videos. At the end of the day, it's marketing for you, the agent, utilizing this listing as a means to advertise the commodity, the asset, or the thing that we're selling, which is you and your brand. We are advertising you, your business, and the way in which you operate to anybody that is watching this video. So it is pertinent to remember why we're doing this and keep that as a conscious thought when you're drafting the script for your virtual open house or tour. So you want to, what I like to recommend is make a soft floor plan, right? Create something simple where you can note down each room and kind of draw arrows in and out of where you're going to want to travel in that space. And this is all homework that is done before the actual marketing happens for this specific session. You want to know, what are we going to say about the property and where, and then what points you will include information about the community. You'll see in the video that I've put together at the end of this that I like to use a ratio of 4-to-1. For every 4 things that you mention about the property, mention 1 thing about the community it's in or the county in which it resides that could be relevant to anybody trying to locate into the region. And again, even for people that aren't trying to move here, from a representation perspective, it allows you to convey to prospective audience members what you're like to work with, why you love the area in which you operate in, and why that's important for any given consumer to learn about from you. And those are the kind of tidbits and those are the kind of content that will bring people into your sphere and bring them to explore more of what you have to offer. So the big goal is taking something like this, utilizing it across the month as a marketing piece, and capturing new consumers from Instagram, from YouTube, from your website. Things like a virtual tour statistically will keep someone on your page 4 to 8 times longer than they would have been if they were looking just at photos and a description of a particular listing. Of course, that's because they are watching a video and are now on your space. But if you do your job and are able to capture that consumer, then they've now found an additional reason, whether it's they find you as a proper knowledge base for the area they're trying to buy, they think you're the great knowledge base when it comes to real estate and market information, or they are just endeared to your personality and think you indeed will do the best by them in their transaction. Whatever they get out of that, the goal is to capture someone, and then you as the agent can work on funneling them into an eventual lead. I like to use a target as an example for my agents, a series of 3 concentric circles with your outer circle being white noise. Those are going to be people that are new, that find these kind of videos, whether they be about a property or the community. And then by being on your mailing list, by following you on social media, by checking in on your website, they eventually move into that white noise, into the potential business category. And then those potential business category clients are what eventually move into the bullseye, which are leads, fans, people that'll leave you testimonials, or people that you do reoccurring business with. This is all a long discussion to say that these aren't things you should throw together on the fly. They are something that should be planned out as a part of your marketing strategy, just like everything in Listing Concierge is when it comes to advertising a listing. It is built to use that listing as a way to advertise yourself. It's the exact same thought process you want to have here. How am I using this listing to advertise my brand and business and to endear myself to new consumers? So do your homework, plan out what room you're going to walk into, how you're going to navigate that space, and what information you're going to provide both about the property and the region in which it operates. Now, once you've done, let me just take a quick pause because I've been talking for a ton of seconds. And do bear with me, guys. This is the first time I've just finished structuring this class, and you guys are my first audience for it. So I'm still working out some of the bugs. I do appreciate any working through these hiccups with me, but I digress. We've gotten an idea of what the pre-planning stage looks like, right? So you've got your plan, you've got your little roadmap with your bullet points, you know exactly what you're going to say as you go through each room. Now you want to make sure you have the equipment necessary and you do a test run either the day of or the day before the shoot to know exactly what you're getting into. And now the things you really need, I boiled it down to 3 essentials. The first, obviously, being your camera. You are using your phone, totally fine. I mean, most phones today have better cameras than ones I've ever owned. So they make sense to use in that mode. The important point to stress is whenever you start filming, make sure you put that phone on airplane mode so you're not disrupting yourself, especially if you're doing a live event. Sorry, scratch that. If you're doing a live event, you need to just make sure the ringer is off. It can't be in airplane mode because you're probably going to stream that event live onto some kind of a network. But I digress. The second thing you need is going to be some kind of a Steadicam or a commonly known as a gimbal. This is a device that's going to allow your phone to be centered mechanically and will alleviate any bounces or tremors or the general sense of seasickness that can come from anyone walking around with a handheld camera. I will link to 3 of my top choices in your recap, so don't worry about that. But the investment here is anywhere from about $60 to $150 being like the top end ones that you would need. And it's something, again, when it comes to thinking about what does your business plan accommodate for 2021 through 2023. We know consumers are becoming more and more comfortable seeing things online. 50% of buyers find their house online, and over 90% still used an agent to make that purchase. So you want to make sure that everything represents a quality bar that you associate with your brand. This is one of those things that is essential if you're going to be conducting your own tours. The last thing is the light source. Now, in my example, I'm not using one, but it's because we're filming in the day and because I have a darker shade of skin that wasn't being washed out by the natural light in the room. However, that is often not the case for everybody utilizing the videos, their properties. If you are going to be testing things indoors, always check with either a box light or a ring light, and I will include 2 solid options again in your recap. The goal there is just to make sure you don't look washed out in the image that you are working with. A solid light source projected against you will make sure that you come across, again, in a professional manner with the quality bar that we're trying to hit, and it looks less like a last minute thing that you're walking through the home just with your cell phone. trying to, don't make it look like you're trying too hard. This is all I'm trying to say. A simple light source, whether it be a ring light or a box light that you have above the camera or above your phone or located in the room reflecting against you, can make a huge quality difference to the image your consumer is looking at. So those are the big three things that you want to focus on. And there is a note in the chat that is solid to remember. As I said, gimbals are mechanical. They will require a power source to operate. Most of them are battery powered, so you do want to make sure that and your lights are always charged and ready to use, just in case you don't have an outlet where you need one for a given shot, or there's no power at the location you're using. These videos are 100% about marketing you as an agent and a community figure. Both buyers and sellers can take a deep interest in you and your business through videos like the one I'm about to show you that I created. An agent of mine, Heidi, was kind enough to let me use one of her contingent listings that is vacant for this example. And one of my agents, Aquantis, was kind enough to be my partner and help me walk through the property. Now, this is a great point to bring up the fact that these tours, like I said, can be thought about as entry points for new consumers in your digital marketing strategy, but they are not solo jobs. Bare minimum, you're going to need an additional person there to help you and be that camera person for you. It is very, very hard to map out something like this on your own. So you're going to, again, want to be conscious about how am I doing this, and make sure you time block space for yourself and your partner to be able to get in there and utilize whatever means you are to capture the property. Now, all those ducks are in a row. Here's where the marketing aspect comes in. Just as you would market a traditional open house or tour, you want to think about how you're reaching out to your sphere, audience, and fellow agents to let them know this is happening ahead of time. Now, for a traditional video, let's say like the one I am going to be showing you, that's something recorded that I will premiere. So I can market that as just like I would the live event, but instead of sending a link to a Facebook live event or a Zoom event or a Teams event, etc., I am posting a link to my YouTube channel that has the video set to premiere at a certain date and time that I am highlighting in the email blast that I am sending. If the whole idea of setting up a premiere on YouTube or uploading things to a YouTube channel is fairly new to you, I do teach a 2-part series on YouTube. It will, it's the previous recordings are on my channel. However, if not next week, the week after, I will be resuming those courses. YouTube, much like an Instagram or Facebook, is something that if you have proper commercial aspirations, it needs to be a part of your marketing strategy. So if your digital strategy does not yet incorporate that, reach out to your field marketing specialist and set up an appointment to talk about your marketing strategy and how you can start to leverage some of the big sources that you need in it. Why is YouTube so important? A, it's a video platform where you can then house videos that you are uploading for your own business purposes, as well as videos that you want to share with consumers or embed or post on newsletters, e-blasts, things that you're sending out. For example, if you guys are in my region, you get emails with videos from me every Monday and Friday. I upload them to my YouTube channel. Some of them, most of them are unlisted, so you don't necessarily, the public can't see them, but that link will take you right to a video that you can watch that I can use anywhere I need to online. The second important reason, YouTube's parent company is Alphabet. Alphabet owns Google. Google is the largest search engine in the world. If you want to play the SEO game properly, you need to have YouTube as a leveraged part of your marketing strategy, because everything you do on that platform helps feed your brand in a better position for the web crawlers that Google uses. Again, if a lot of those words didn't necessarily make a lot of sense to you just now, reach out to me. Reach out to your field marketing specialist. That's a bigger discussion for a different time. Moving on. Once you have created whatever that e-blast is. Let's say I have, what's today? It's Thursday the 3rd. I am going to premiere that video Saturday the 4th. I can send out a wonderful e-blast with a video, a brief unlisted video, just kind of talking about like an intro about what's going to happen. There's going to be a tour being shown on Saturday. Feel free to send this to whoever and whomever. If you'd like to reach out to me, please do so, and we can talk about this if you have an interested buyer, blah, blah, blah. You guys know how to reach out to other agents. When it comes to reaching out to consumers, this is where you can leverage the story modes on things like Facebook, where you can leverage different posts on things like Facebook or LinkedIn. The goal, again, is to create a sense of hype around the premiere of that video for that consumer. If you have people that are looking, and again, like I talked about in the beginning, whether you have people looking to move to the area or people that are looking to find an agent, that's what the opportunities that are being generated by a piece of marketing like this, that's what they can do for you. Like I said, you're trying to think of these tours as an entry point for new consumers to that marketing strategy. After you have sent out that initial notification, follow that up just like you would any traditional open house. Follow that up throughout the week. So if I made that first post today, I'd make another one tomorrow. Maybe you can add a story to talk about it, maybe preview the video a little bit, generate some kind of buzz. And then when the video goes live on YouTube, you can leverage that for about a solid week before I would recommend. This is where being a larger part of your marketing arm comes into play. You've got that initial post to capture as many people as you can. And just in case all of your consumer base isn't following your YouTube channel, we'll follow it up with the next week by sharing it on your Instagram and Facebook, reminding consumers, hey, this premiered a week ago. I'm just now uploading it to the rest of my channels. If you're not following me here, and here, feel free to do so. You can always check my website. That has all of the most up-to-date information on it, because the goal, again, of any of these marketing arms, whether it's LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all of them are built to drive all of this traffic back to your website, where a consumer can sign up to be a member on your mailing list, sign up for a listing alert, or browse your channel or your website, I should say, for information that's, like I said, relevant to them and the community in which you operate. And that's where it comes into, know what you're doing with the video afterwards. Build in those call to actions at the end of the video. Talk about when a specific home might be hit, if the home just hit the market. Talk about anything business related that you have upcoming. If you're doing an interview with a local business, to plug a area for your communities page. If you're touring another home in the next 3 weeks, all of these kind of things, build in a way to drive your consumer, if not back to your website, back to your brand in some kind of a relevant way. If you think about a lot of popular YouTubers, they have a script that pops in at the end of their videos. That's often what's called a call to action. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you, in your case, make sure you sign up for my mailing list, make sure you visit my website and check out, et cetera, et cetera. Make sure you're following me on Instagram. Every Tuesday, I'm out on tour. I show my favorite properties again, whatever the case may be. Get extra legs out of this video by including it in the rest of your digital strategy. And if you don't have a digital strategy set up, this is where reaching out to your FMS or things like the Education Expo earlier today come in handy in regards to where do pieces like this fit into a larger conversation of brand identity. Now, all of that setup being said, right? You got your homework done. You know exactly what you're talking about. You've got your equipment ready to go. Now you can shoot and edit that video. I have along with some of the other FMSs, there are a couple of sessions that use various different editing programs. You can also outsource this to any number of freelance people that that you find. Again, if you want to have a larger conversation about putting the actual video together, feel free to reach out to me, reach out to your FMS. I've just got an example that I put together that I've been talking about throughout this session. I'm going to show it to you guys now. It will be linked in the recap, but it just gives you an idea of taking all of the stuff we've talked about and how you can simply package it into a presentation that works for your consumer. Give me 1 second and I will go ahead and get this open for you. And again, it'll give you guys a little bit of example of what we've been talking about, how one of these videos might look. And again, since it's a recorded video, I'll be talking a little bit about some of the stuff I've mentioned in the lecture prior to showing you this video, and you'll get to see some of it happen in real time in this edit that we've put together for a property in Salinas.
Hello, welcome everyone to 17590 Crossroad here in Salinas, California. For those of you who do not...
Sorry guys, I'm just giving that a quick refresh because it was a little wonky there on quality. And take two.
Hello, welcome everyone to 17590 Crossroad here in Salinas, California. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Anuj. I'm the field marketing specialist here in Santa Cruz in Monterey County. And today we're going to review some best practices, tips, tricks, and kind of fundamental technique when thinking about presenting both open houses and live tours. All right, so what's the agenda today? I'm going to kind of walk through both how the video and tour is structured and what you want to think about consciously while doing these kind of walkthroughs. The first thing you're going to notice, I am following all the guidelines that are necessary in my county to alleviate any kind of consumer needs or concerns in relation to how I conduct business. Don't have any questions raised that are unnecessary, and don't put yourself in a spot where those questions need to be raised. Make sure you do everything handy, meaning having a mask on. And you'll notice I'm taking time to make sure both my voice is coming through in a clean and precise manner, as well as putting a little extra emphasis to make sure my diction comes through clear as to not mumble or confuse anybody while trying to talk through a mask. Again, like I said, we are at 17590 Crossroad here in Salinas, which is the salad bowl of the world. It's a little fun fact for you guys. Per acre, we grow more food here in Salinas than any other part of the planet. Always have little great tips that you can share, both about the home that you are touring and talking about, as well as the community that it resides in. It's important to stress that you're not just buying into a series of wooden planks and stone, but you're buying into a community and a space where I, your agent, can be a valued resource in helping you guide and navigate this community and the places that are in it. Here we have the home. I'm going to highlight some of the basic details before we walk in. It's got 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, 2.5 acres, a barn, a wonderful fire pit area kind of place in the back. It's got great fresh air, a beautiful breeze. You can probably see hitting my shirt as I am talking. Highlight the things that you can be descriptive and imaginative with, right? Insert a bit of character here, insert a bit of yourself. Talk about things that you can imagine doing. I'd love to have a horse out here, grow my own food, be able to grow tomatoes, zucchinis, peppers, all the good stuff. And let's go ahead and walk in and talk about what this place looks like as a home. Good afternoon, morning, everyone. Welcome back from our commercial break. If you forgot, this is a nudge. We're talking about 17590 Crossroad here in Salinas. Make sure you Google that, find the address on ColdwellBankerHomes.com. Plug yourself, plug the brand. I'm going to take a quick moment to pause. Obviously, I talked earlier about the importance of making sure you alleviate any kind of subconscious concerns regarding our pandemic from your consumer's mind by following all the rules based on your county's guidelines for how to deal with this pandemic. But I digress. What you want to also use this opportunity to do to brand. I work for Coldwell Banker. I'm wearing a Coldwell Banker mask. You guys can order these from CB Store, but I also would stress take the opportunity to get something like this that includes both the brokerage logo and your own personal branding as well. If you got something from Design Concierge made, leverage these moments. That's what a brand is for. That's why you see the Nike swoosh on everything they make, because they want you to know where it comes from. The entire time I'm talking, you could be looking at my branding and logo and thinking about who you should be buying your home with, or more importantly, what we're building through this video is the perception of what it's like to work with me and who I am as a person and as an agent. So we get all kinds of marketing approaches that we build into this one walkthrough and video that can reach a worldwide audience and let them know what your brand is like to operate with, what it looks like visually, and so it sticks with them whenever they think both questions about real estate and questions about the community you just were operating and walking in. This is the beautiful living room. You can see we've got, if any of you guys watch the Food Network, I'm a big fan of Alton Brown's Good Eats. So it's cooking awesome stuff on a weird thing like this. You can have one of these in your house if you were to so choose and find a location just like this. You know, again, insert some of yourself, insert some of your character, walk through the home and have fun with it. Now, the difference between a live walkthrough and a recording is like what you just saw. I was able to cut something that went poorly, like my booty falling off, and jump now into my next point without missing a beat. There's no muss, no fuss, and this recording is obviously tailored to focus on both marketing the property and marketing myself primarily as an agent to anybody that is watching. Live is where you really stress the team aspect of this. I obviously am not operating the camera myself. I have a camera person with me that is also following social distance guidelines, wearing the booties, wearing the mask. But if I were live on, let's say, YouTube Live or Facebook Live or Instagram, whatever the platform you are using, I have the additional person here. We will have a laptop set up. Let's say for this example, I'm using Facebook Live. As questions, comments, things like that come into the space, I have someone that's able to vet and check those and bring them up for me. That way I don't have to worry about any awkward pauses or slip-ups as I'm walking through the home. Because the beauty of a live is like what I can do here. If we get questions, hey, someone wants to know specifically what's going on in this space. Well, we've got 2 bedrooms. You've got your master suite. We're gonna get a bit of an echo as we move into this part of the house, so I'm gonna try and adjust my voice accordingly. You'll hear my watch go off. It's a good note to remember you mute all of your devices when doing these kind of tours and walkthroughs. As we move into each specific room, you're gonna wanna make sure your cameraman always pushes back off of you, and you step back out of frame, continue to push back, so we can get an idea of scaling in whichever room you are in. I am just about 5'10", 5'11", and you can see what I am like to move around in this space and how my height fits every room that I walk in. It just kind of helps with the dynamic, plus it gives your viewer a good idea of exactly what space they are looking at. And if, let's say, going back to my discussion about line, we get someone that asks, hey, what was that door you passed in the hallway. I can say this door that I passed, just because the question wasn't super specific, this door is a closet, and this door is a half bathroom. It is one of the bathrooms included in the 2.5 I mentioned earlier. Right there. Got another bedroom there. And again, the big difference is if I were live, I couldn't just go off the cuff like I am in this example for the class, because I don't have the ability or the, I should say the comfort of being able to jump back, edit, and reshoot something. You want to have a series of bullet points tailored out for what you're going to highlight for the house. And I always stress, if you're talking 4 bullet points about the region of the house you're in, 1 about the community that the home is in. So, we just talked about the living room, talked about a couple of the bathrooms. Did you also know that Salinas was the home of former Nobel laureate John Steinbeck? And the Steinbeck Library is one of the coolest assets available to residents of this town. Big fan of libraries. Y'all should grab a book and enjoy it in this lovely kitchen that has been recently remodeled and has an induction stove. Not a huge fan of induction stoves because you don't get the fire, but you get a lovely stove, oven, you got a dishwasher. Again, highlight things, insert yourself, and most importantly, in regards to a video, if you're shooting this after the fact, this is where I would take time to cut from the talking head portion and go to what we would call coverage shots. I would, as you can tell in the edit that you're watching, you're listening to my voice talk over several shots of the kitchen we're in, as well as the bonus room that we're walking into. That includes a sink. It's got an awesome half carpet, half fake tile kind of floor going on. It reminds me of what my ideal man cave would look like. Put a big old TV on this brick wall because you know it wouldn't go anywhere. Get some really nice chairs right here, or you could just hang a projector from the ceiling. Got great supports with this giant beam running through. I mean, it's a fun spot, right? It's a fun space. And more importantly, right, in a video wherein you are cutting stuff together, I can either keep the audio I'm recording live and use it as a map over for while I walk through the space, or you can always dub audio after the fact. What you want to have planned out both in the ahead of time before you're doing your live video and just to make your life easier when shooting in the space that you're going to operate in is know how you're going to walk through each of the rooms, where the camera needs to be, where you need to be. And I think it's important to use this time. We talked at the beginning about how I talk and enunciate and make sure my diction comes through clear and effectively, even through the mask. I'm doing this because we tested everything and we discovered we didn't need me to wear a lapel mic or any kind of AirPods or earbuds or anything like that, because it was indeed coming through clear enough, direct from the source as we walk through each of the rooms. Now, that will not be the case for every home you are in. So it's important to test run all of these things before you go through your property and you're walking room for room like you would, treating that camera like it's the client that you're showing this home to. You got all these pretty views right outside. Oh. The other thing you can't do live that you can do with a pre-planned video is make sure you can cut your cameraman out of the mirrors and allow the person watching the video to truly feel like you're talking specifically to them as a client and not to anyone as a whole. This is the last bathroom upstairs. It's got a lovely shower curtain of the world. Feels like home, doesn't it? And that's what we want to do, is we make these places feel like home, try and tell a story about the community that we live in, and the way we would utilize this space or can see your clients utilizing this space in the future. Whether you're a single rancher who wants to grow their own self-sustaining environment in this wonderful abode, or you want to raise a generational ranch and utilize the 2.5 acres to build a family and build another, utilize the barn for something or other. You can do whatever. It'll be your property. Have your dreams, have your fun, be yourself in these walkthroughs. And again, live or not, once the talkthrough is done, once the property has been shown, you can take this video, condense it, and repurpose it across multiple platforms to make sure you're leveraging it as a part of your marketing strategy. And that's the big thing that we want to think about, right? What do each of these tours, open houses, walkthrough showings, how can they have multiple effects and be used to what the real purpose is, to advertise you as the agent who should be both used by someone who needs to sell in this space because you care about this space, you know it, you love it, and you live it. Or you want to represent someone who's trying to buy in this space and who wants that piece of the lifestyle that you're constantly talking about. And we want to wrap up with how we structured it to walk outside and enjoy this little stroll here to the patio. And that's really it, guys. I know it might sound a little repetitive at times, but the important parts of this are always be yourself and find your groove to make sure that both the property and the region get advertised so you can convey to your consumers the kind of knowledge and expertise you have in the area that we're putting all this effort in to sell. I'm taking us on a lovely walk here into your backyard area. What I want to say is thank you all for kind of coming along with me, right? We're ending on a highlight shot that makes, again, the consumer want to reach out, want to find out more about this beautiful space that I've spent this time talking and guiding you through. Making sure I leverage the video, again, to use on multiple platforms. We're going to jump back now to the live portion of this class. I will have this posted in the recap for you guys to use and kind of think about in a functional sense for what you're putting together yourself. But remember, there's no formula that you need to copy. It's just be informative, make sure you're hitting all the right points, make sure you're coming through clear, and represent yourself and your brand in a way that can come through to the consumer so they know what you're like to work with and why you're the best agent to represent them in Salinas, where we are.
There we go. Sorry about that. Like I was just saying, is that kind of should reinforce a little bit of what we were talking about at the beginning of the class and give you a great walkthrough, an idea of the kind of flavor you're looking for. Again, that was about a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath house without me rambling about how to do things. Probably could cut that down to about 12 minutes. I'm obviously not a real estate agent, so I have very little to talk about in regards to real estate, but you guys will have a lot more information and content to bring to the table when talking about your homes. Big thing I wanted to stress on top of everything else that I've been stressing is you got to have fun with these too. I obviously was having a good time making it, and it comes through in the video. My background is in entertainment, and I can tell you guys, if you're not having fun, and it's stressful and it feels it will come through. And that's the last kind of thing you want to convey to the consumer base. This should be something that lets your potential consumers, as well as your current ones, your buyers and sellers, know how you've adjusted in this space and why you're still the best person to represent them and their business needs. So, opening up the floor, are there any questions that anybody would like to ask? I know I did a lot of talking over the last 45 minutes, but feel free to unmute yourselves or drop them into the chat. I will put a handful of seconds on the clock.
This is Lynette Fenical. I wanted to talk about editing a video like that. What is the easiest software to use? And putting the music in the background, did you have to adjust that? I mean, I guess you adjust it during certain parts of it. What's the best way to do that?
Great question. So I use Adobe Premiere Pro. I teach a class, or I have taught a class, I should say, on kind of some of the basics in operating in that software. Now, the Adobe suite is not something included by the company, nor is it the cheapest.
I believe his Wi-Fi went down. He should reconnect in a little bit.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You froze for a couple of seconds. You're back, I believe.
I'm back?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just answer that question again. I used Adobe Premiere Pro. It's not the cheapest software on the market, but it is very, very complicated things. However, things like iMovie or there's really tons of software out there that can do this for you, and it's a matter of comfort on either what you're willing to learn, or like I said, you can always outsource this to someone that you'd like to hire. There's all kinds of different avenues to go about it. If you'd like to kind of get a general understanding of how editing works in Adobe, I have a class on my YouTube channel that will be the recording of this session will link to that, as well as the link to the video I made for that property. I will also include in the recap that also will take you right to my YouTube channel. I have a 100 level class about Adobe. I would take a look at that and see if it's something that you think you could wrap your head around. And if you have any further questions, you can reach out to me directly. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other, let's see, if we were filming ourselves, do we have to wear a mask? Yes. Like I said in the beginning of my video, the whole purpose of that is to, on a subconscious level, register with your consumer that you do everything in your ability to make sure your business follows the guidelines set forth by your county, as well as taking their safety and their needs into account. Don't open yourself up to any questions that could stall a conversation to business like that. It's a bad rookie mistake to make. So yes, wear a mask. I included a link to a survey in the chat. Guys, and it's also going to be included in the recap. If you would like to give any feedback, this is the first class I am doing on this specific topic. I'm going to kind of workshop it a little bit over the next couple of weeks, but any feedback is greatly appreciated. It goes right to my management team. So it only helps me become a better marketing specialist for you guys. So I do appreciate any feedback that you can leave. I know I'm a little over, but next time I'll just make the session from 3 to 4. Thank you, Lynette. I am glad you found it informative. Looks like there's no other questions, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I will let you guys go. Feel free to, again, if you want